Yo, what up, world? 502 King Paul coming out with another video, man. Hey, this video, we're going to get deep. I know a lot of people can relate to what I'm about to talk about inside this video, but we're going to talk about the relationship between sex and weed, or smoking weed and then having sex. Y'all gonna be able, a lot of this stuff that I go down this list, man, if you smoked and had sex at any point in your life, you're gonna know he's 100% correct on this. But I just want to share this, and I want to get y'all feedback on what you think about the matter. But first thing that I noticed when I really got into smoking weed and I was sexually active is, at first, it made things much more enjoyable. Put the spiritual part to the side for a moment. Sex is just as much mental as it is physical. So, for example, in order for you to even have sex with someone, you have to mentally be attracted to that person. You have to y'all got to click on some kind of level. It can't just be just sex. I know a lot of people would say, well, guys, just whatever, they'll just have sex with whoever. And that's not the case, man. You got some dudes out there that are not very picky at all. I'll say that. Like, their standards are just low across the board. But I know for me personally, I have to have a mental connection with this person. And for a lot of guys that I've talked to as well, just on the subject of sex, is that you have to have some kind of something with this person. Like, we got to have some kind of conversation. I got to know where your head's at. I got to basically know, like I said, I took the spiritual out of it, I'm gonna put it back in. I got to know what kind of spirit you are, to the best of my ability. Some people hide things really well, but I got to know where you're at mentally. Like, we got to have that connection. I got to feel that vibe in order to even have sex with you. So smoking weed makes it to where you kind of lower your inhibitions a little bit. Like, you lower your guard some. You're more relaxed. Not only that, like the physical feeling of it, you're much more, it seems like things feel better. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Seems like things feel better at the beginning. I keep saying at the beginning because number 2 is going to totally go against number 1, but y'all get what I mean. If anybody has been smoking for a long time, smoking for any amount of time, basically, and you've had sex, you know this. Sex just seems so much more better when you're high. Or, for some people, maybe a little bit drunk or whatever the case is. Also, one thing I want to mention on that matter as well. Like, I realized that there's people who have went through abuse inside of their life, physical, sexual abuse, and they are just not comfortable having sex. They're not comfortable having any kind of physical touch. So some people that are like that, they will resort to alcohol. Other people, they'll resort to weed. And I think that I've ran across a few women like that inside of my life, to where they had to have that, something else that's going to help them get into a more relaxed mind state to be able to have sex in the first place. So I did want to touch on that, not to go like super left, but I got to acknowledge that's a major reason why a lot of people drink and they smoke weed before having sex. But number 2, second thing, and I got my little bullet points written down here, so if y'all see me looking down. But I noticed after a while, it became a necessity. Like, I had to have weed to have sex. Like, I had to smoke weed. If I didn't smoke weed beforehand, I'm probably not having sex. Like, that's how it started off for me once I really got into smoking. And I think with being a hardcore smoker, that pretty much goes for like anything, any kind of activity. I wouldn't go and do anything without smoking. I don't want to go over a friend's house and not smoke. I don't want to go to a store I didn't smoke. I don't want to go to a event and I didn't smoke. It didn't matter what it was. It could be a wedding, a funeral, a graduation, whatever, a birthday party. I didn't want to go unless I had smoked, because I felt like I needed to smoke to get throughout the day anyway. So especially when it came to sex, it's like, okay, I'm so used to this heightened sense that I had before when I first started smoking and having sex. I felt like, it felt better. And it became a mental thing for me, man, where I was like, okay, I gotta smoke beforehand. You know, everything got to go on pause for a moment. We're going to have to hold off on linking up, me and this, you know, me and whatever woman. We're going to have to hold off on linking up because I got to go get my weed first. So then that way I'm ready to go. And that's where I started to realize it was a problem. I didn't stop, you know, early on, but that's when I started to realize how much of a problem it was. Number 3. And this one's very interesting. It can either make you less or more picky when it comes to having sex with somebody, male, woman, whatever, based on whatever you are. You know, if you're a woman, you know, it can make you more picky on the men that you choose to deal with, or can make you less picky. And I say less picky because sometimes it wasn't even I know for me personally, it wasn't even so much about the physical attraction. Like I had to be physically attracted, but I kind of limited myself to the type of women I would even deal with because they had to smoke too. Because I wanted to be around somebody who I could just sit there and smoke around. Or they didn't even have to necessarily smoke. They just had to be cool with me smoking. But not every woman's going to be cool with that. Not every man's going to be attracted or cool with that if you're a woman. So, you know, you kind of limit yourself and kind of, you know, put yourself in this little pocket of people that you feel comfortable being around, or even, you know, to even have sex with, because you want somebody who will accept, you know, what your lifestyle, your habit of smoking weed. On the other hand, and this is kind of funny, but I've had this conversation with several people before, man, about becoming more picky as you smoke weed. So I can name a couple of times where I was smoking and I would look over at the young lady I was with, and I would look at her, and just as we just smoked, you know, together, she would just get less and less attractive to me. And I'm pretty sure it's women who feel the same way about men as well. Like, you start smoking and you looking at them, I'm like, man, this chick she ain't as cute as what I thought she was. Like, you start looking at little small details and certain things, and you know, it could be just like the smallest things, like, oh, like, what's going on with your feet, baby? What's going on with your fingernails? You know, about time to change that weave or whatever you got. Like, it's certain things you just start noticing, and it's like, But like I said, it made me more picky sometimes. And I've talked to plenty of other dudes that said the same thing inside of their situations, that they would just be chilling with a chick and they get to smoking and they're like, all right, let's get this over with, because I'm really losing attraction as we sit here and continue smoking, and I keep looking at you more and more in detail. Another good point on that before I go on to the next one is we tend to do that with ourselves as well. Like, when I was smoking, I would sit there and like super overanalyze myself inside of the mirror. Like, certain things that really wouldn't even matter to me. You know, if I was sober, I get high and I'm looking, I don't like, you know, how my eyes looking. I don't like this. I don't like how my ears looking. And like, start picking apart little certain things. I think that's just part of, you know, some people kind of go into overanalyzing mode when they get high. Some people just tend to blank out and they don't care about nothing. Me, I was an overanalyzer when I smoked. Number 4. It opens you up to perversion. Now, when I say perversion, I don't mean like, what do you call it? Like pedophilia, stuff like that. That's not what I mean. I mean perversion as far as you start looking at somebody a way that you normally would not look at them. And I'm going to give y'all the definition of perversion just before I hop into this. So perversion is the alteration of something from its original course, meaning, or state to a distortion or a corruption of what was first intended. So platonic friends, we'll say, for example, that's what comes to mind when I think about, you know, the whole perversion thing. You know, you may be cool with this guy, cool with this girl, whatever, and, you know, you never looked at them in no kind of sexual way, but you get to smoking weed and you looking at them, and then now all these different thoughts are coming to mind, like, I wonder what this would be like. You know, same thing with drinking alcohol too. It's the same kind of effect. You drinking a little too much, and then you start looking at people the wrong way that you shouldn't even be thinking of them. Like, this is a platonic friend, but now you're looking at them like, you know, somebody who you could potentially sleep with, have sex with. That's happened with me before, man, to where, you know, you're sitting there and you're looking at someone one way, and then all of a sudden now you're looking at them kind of different. Or You know, it could be a complete stranger. Really, you know, you wouldn't even be looking at this person in this way, but you had, you know, you drunk, whatever, and now you're looking at them in a way that you wouldn't have even looked at them before. And I just found that smoking seems to open you up more so to that. I've seen it with other guys as well, man. Like, they could be sober. This can be not even paying no attention to, you know, different women. But then once they get that weed in them, they start paying more attention to them. Like, oh yeah, you know, this could maybe be something that it really shouldn't even be nothing. That's how we get caught up with people that we have no business even messing with in the first place. But number 5, I'm gonna keep it rolling through here because I got a couple more and I don't like my videos being too long. But number 5, it can either increase or decrease your sex drive. Now, early on, I would say that's the reason why a lot of people really get into it. Increases your sex drive. Early on, you're gonna get very horny when you're smoking weed. So you're gonna, you know, end up reaching out to people that you probably shouldn't be reaching out to. You know, you're gonna be reaching out to, you know, some girl that you ain't never even paid her no attention. Never even, that's why I said, going back to the whole perversion thing, like, you ain't even paid this girl no attention, but now you done got high. It's like, all right, man, let me see what's up with that. You might not have even been thinking about sex or being horny before, and then you smoke, and now boom, here you are, right inside the midst of it. Or it can be the opposite, to where now your sex drive decreases, and you know, you might smoke and you're like, you know what, I don't even want to have sex. You might have been horny before that, and you smoking like, no what, I'm cool. I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna chill. You know, it may be harder for you to perform, male or female. It might be harder for you to perform sexually once you get to smoking weed. So that's one thing. I know for men it's impotence, and for women, you know, you may get so much inside of your head or whatever to where things just aren't going how they normally go. This is very real, man. I just want to put this stuff out here because a lot of people, they don't talk about it. Like, we know about it, but nobody really talks about it like that. Number 6, it can facilitate things lasting much longer than they should. When I know personally, when I smoked weed, it was a lot of things that I would just let ride. Like, I would just let things ride. And this really speaks more so to relationships than sex, but sex is a part of it as well. But like, you just put up with much more than what you would because you're brushing off everything. It's like, all right, I'm gonna smoke, man. I ain't tripping. I don't even care about that. I'm upset at this person, but instead of really talking, have a constructive conversation, I'm gonna smoke. I'm just gonna put it off. I don't care about that. So that's something. And some people may say, well, how long? You know, how long does it make things last over, you know, the amount that it should? I would say it makes it last long enough to where it's an unhealthy bond, or a soul tie, some people call it, especially when you are consistently having sex with this person. You know, you may know in your heart, know in your spirit that this is not meant to be, but you're sitting there smoking and you're just like, all right, and just letting things drag on, drag on, drag on, drag on. And then you look up and years have went by. You know, them months turn to a year quick, and then that year turns to 2, turns to 3, turns to 4, and now, you know, you done been inside this relationship far too long, having sex with this person far too long. Mostly just out of convenience, man. I'm gonna be honest, just mostly out of convenience is how people get stuck inside those situations. They like familiarity. They like to know that, okay, I can just go here and I'm good, but you gotta break away from that, man. Last thing that I want to touch on here is that it takes away from what sex truly is. Now, I'm gonna tell you something about like the whole nonchalant attitude that comes with smoking weed. You know, it applies to a whole bunch of different areas in life, but when it comes to sex, it makes something that was created, you know, to be beautiful, make it seem like nothing. Makes you very nonchalant about the activity anyway. Same way about like with alcohol. Like I said, because they kind of have the same effects when it comes to sex. Alcohol is the same way, man. It will make it seem like, you know, this is just nothing. Like, okay, this is just casual exchange, you know, fair exchange, no harm, but not realizing what sex was truly created for, which is for a wife, for a husband, to have that, it's a gift to us as human beings from God. And that's one thing that a lot of people forget, man. I know, like I said, I'm not without any kind of fault. When I'm saying this, trust and believe. I done fornicated plenty of time. I had plenty of sex throughout my life, all kind of different women. So I'm not speaking from a state of, you know, I haven't been there and I haven't done. And nah, but I'm saying that I'm not ignorant to the fact that this is what it was created for. It's created for a husband and a wife. So I do want to just put that out there, man, for those who have made it to this point inside this video, that overall, sex was created for husband and wife, and you got to be real cautious about, you know, if you're going to use weed, not to become dependent on having weed in order to have sex inside of your relationships, inside of your life, man, because it has a lot of adverse effects, as I just now went over on my list here. But hopefully this video blesses y'all. Hey, if y'all got any of y'all own experiences with weed and sex, any stories that y'all want to share, drop them down below into the comments. Let me know what you think about this video. If you like anything about the video, take a moment, go down below, hit like. Let me know what you think. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. 502 King Paul. I love y'all. Y'all stay blessed. Till next time, I'm out of here, man.